said you were interested. How far can I go? Okay. You said you were interested in Resident Evil, so let me introduce to you a little bit of lore. Okay. So we start out Resident Evil. Wait, real quick. Look at this really cool thing I can do. It's drying because it got wet. Wait, oh my god, that would be such a slight intro. Hold up. So you want to learn about Resident Evil? Okay, so we start out with Resident Evil 1. Resident Evil 1 came out in 1996, I think, on the PlayStation 1. It was created by a little company known as Capcom. Okay, and in this game, it stars two main characters. The first one that shows up on your list is a lovely lady named Jill Valentine. And then the next person that shows up on the list is a lovely man named Christopher Redfield, if you would. It has it like, it shows you their ID badge, so you get to choose which character you want to play as. And the first one that shows up is Jill Valentine. And then it goes, and you can like click it to the next one, and then it's Chris's ID badge. Chris is seemingly the harder character to play because you don't have a lockpick and you lose 2 of your storage slots, I'm pretty sure. But you do have a lighter, so because he's a smoker. Which comes into play later, kind of ish. In Resident Evil 8, you can see him smoking a cigarette, and I swear it set back like anti-cigarette ads by like 30 years because it was hot. So you play as Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield, and depending on who you play as, the story changes a little bit, but I don't really know what the canon is because it's been like 30 years, and Capcom doesn't really give a shit. And I also don't know RE1 very well. RE1 did get a remake in 2001, the year of our Lord, I'm pretty sure, for the GameCube, which is the one I have, which you've probably seen me play. And that one is typically seen as like people's favorite because it's such a good remaster of the game that truly made it feel haunting, haunting ground. No, I'm not talking about that today, unfortunately. I'm talking about the other thing that occupies my brain. 3/4 of it. So you play as Chris or you play as Jill. You have a partner named Barry who shows up with you, and Barry's like, you get walking to the dining room area and there's blood on the ground, and he bends down and he goes, "There's blood here. It's been here for a while." And he's old. He's got kids. Moira, I think, is his kid. I don't know. I didn't finish Revelations 2 yet. So you play as Chris or Jill, and then you have Wesker. So it's Chris, Jill, Barry, and Wesker. And he wears sunglasses even though it's dark outside. My theory is that they're prescription sunglasses, and he doesn't have his normal glasses, so he has to keep the sunglasses on to see. That's easily disproven, but ignore that. I'm right all the time. So they're out in the woods of Arklay Mountains looking for Bravo Team, okay? Bravo Team has been dispatched to check out cannibalistic reports in the area, and they've lost contact. So Alpha Team goes in. They don't fly in, I don't know, but they ended up getting attacked in the woods by dogs. They're like, what type of dog are they? The bad guy dog in the first Chihuahua movie, Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie, the bad guy dog, Doberman, I think. Anyway, but they're like zombified. It's cool. So yeah, they're zombie dogs, and they start going blah, 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 and they kill one of your team members, I think. I'm not quite sure. Anyways, you take refuge in a mansion you see. This is Spencer Mansion, okay? This comes into play later, but it's a whole thing. So you go into Spencer Mansion, you close the door behind you, and you're like, whoa, that was a close call. And then if you go back up to the door and you try to go through it again, your character will say like, whew, probably shouldn't go back out there. The dogs are there. And then if you click it one more time, you'll open the door, and then the dogs will get you. So don't open the door is what I learned the hard way. So you're in the mansion, and I don't know RE1 very well. I know about Lisa Trevor, which is a thing. Cool. There's a bathtub in there that's gross, and then Jill sees it and she throws up in a sink. There's a ceiling that comes down that's got spikes. There's a really cool downstairs room that's creepy as hell. But basically, spoilers, this whole thing is a spoiler. You find out that Wesker is a bad guy. And he becomes kind of like the main villain for a good chunk of the series. And then they killed him off, which is like, I don't think he's actually, like, you can't, that was so entertaining. He was so entertaining. But Umbrella is a company, which I love. Resident Evil's kind of like anti-corporations motto, because it's like, hell yeah, we hate Umbrella, the pharmaceutical company. I wish I did have an umbrella today, though. It was raining, pouring outside, as you can see. So, Umbrella's a bad guy. Wesker was a part of an Umbrella program because I think he's also like a BOW, which is a bioorganic weapon, BOWs. And so he's all like superhuman and stuff, and he's really fast, and he's trying to create a tyrant. And then he shows Chris the tyrant, and he's like, look, the ultimate life form. And then Chris is like, really, that's it, Wesker? And then he starts laughing at him, and then Albert's like, Wesker is like, Chris, stop laughing. And he sounds really hurt about it. You should search up the clip on YouTube because it's really funny. So that's a thing. And then, so basically you get out of the mansion, and Rebecca Chambers is there as well. And then there's RE0, which is the night before RE1, but I don't really want to talk about it because A, I haven't finished the game, and B, I don't really know much about it. And then RE2 happens, and Leon S. Kennedy gets introduced into the series, and he's everyone's poster boy. And then there's Claire Redfield. She's gorgeous, and she slays, and she kicks butt. And you get to Raccoon City, which is like 3 or 4 months after the Arklay Mountains incident, where Chris and Jill and Barry survive. Wesker's dead. And they get back to, because they're stars, right? Which is like a special unit, special task and something reinforced, I don't know. But they are going back to Raccoon City. They go to the police department. They're like, hey, that mansion had fucking zombies in it, and it was crazy, and no one believed them. So they were called crazy. And then so Claire hasn't heard from Chris in a long time. So she goes into Raccoon City on the worst night possible, by the way, to go and find her brother. She finds out he's not there. He's actually working to take down Umbrella behind the scenes. And so she's in the city, and then Leon's in the city. They're in a car together at the very beginning of the game, and then the truck's like, and then they get stuck on other sides of it. Once again, you get the choice to play as Leon or Claire. And this game has a fun A, B, A scenario for Claire and Leon, where the things you do as Leon A affects Claire B, and the things you do as Leon B affects Claire A, depending on who you play as first. So you're supposed to play as both characters in Resident Evil 2 to get the full story, because Leon has his own thing and his own bosses. And then he meets Ada Wong, and Ada Wong gets introduced into the series, and that's the whole thing. And then you have Claire, who's doing her own thing, and then she runs into Sherry Birkin, who's a child. She's about 12 years old, and her parents, William and, oh my god, I just forgot her name, Annette. William and Annette Birkin are her parents, and they work for Umbrella, and they're evil because they created the G virus, okay? The T virus is the zombie one, okay? The G virus is the gross William Birkin one. And I watched the first Resident Evil cinematic movie, the CGI movie, I mean. I did also watch the first one with the live action. It was whatever. Once again, I can only get behind the, like, anti-corporation. I love that. Everything else was whatever. But the first CGI movie has Laura Bailey, by the way, voicing a woman, and her brother infects himself with the G virus, and it turns him into this gross monster thing. Okay? Disgusting. And it makes him, whoever infects himself with the thing turns into a mutant, and it makes them want to screw the thing that's the closest relative to them. So he's going after his sister, which to me implies that William Birkin was chasing Sherry Birkin, because he was, for the same reason. Which is some freaky, like, Capcom? you publish this, it's freaky. So that's kind of what's going on. And then they get out and then they escape on a train. Claire, Leon, Sherry, Ada seemingly dies, but she doesn't actually die. And then they get out of Dodge. And they live. And then Raccoon City gets fucking nuked. Okay. But they make it out before then. And then Leon has PTSD. Sherry has PTSD. Claire has PTSD. The three of them are a thing, like a group. And then Claire runs off. I just flipped myself off. The three of them are a thing, but then Claire runs off. She runs off to go find Chris in Europe, which is code for Veronica. Okay. And that means that Sherry and Leon are walking together, and then the government snatches them. Okay. And basically, Leon gets blackmailed into service because, and I'm pretty sure this is canon. I'm like pretty sure. Otherwise, they're going to experiment on Sherry because she has the G virus in her because she did get infected at some point, but she's fine. It lets her heal though, like really fast, which comes into play in RE6 or whatever, but I don't want to talk about RE6 right now. So yeah. So Leon gets forced into government active duty and he gets trained to kill people. And then he shows up 6 years later after that incident in RE4, which is saving Ashley Graham, President's daughter. It doesn't really have anything to do with the overall plot except like introducing and then killing off Major Krauser in the same game and then being like, oh, Ada Wong's here. And then also being like, oh, Albert Wesker's here. And you get to see him wearing like a suit. And then in the next game, he's wearing like a slutty leather outfit. And it's like, sir. And also, he like throws his glasses at some point. He's like, what? And it's like, and then Chris catches it. He's like, huh? And then he gets attacked. I can't see myself anymore. That'll be interesting. So RE3 is Jill Valentine trying to escape Raccoon City. That's where she meets Carlos, which I know you like Carlos. We all do. Carlos Oliveira, I'm pretty sure is how you say his last name. We love Carlos. He's awesome. And then that's kind of self-explanatory. She has Nemesis chasing her. It's a whole thing. She's all like, I'm going to take down Umbrella. So everyone's against Umbrella. And then between RE3 and RE4, off screen, Umbrella gets taken down. And then it comes back with Leon being like, with a nice little like Spanish like guitar and singing, da, 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 da. And then he's up against the window in the car, like, 6 years ago, Raccoon City blew up and I feel bad about it because I was supposed to save everyone. He wasn't. He has survivor's guilt. So then RE4 happens. I love RE4. Love RE4 remake. And then RE5 happens where we have Sheva Alomar. She never shows up again, but I love her so much. We have Sheva Alomar and Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine died off screen, seemingly, and then she comes back in this game, spoilers, as a blonde, fair-skinned, like extra fair-skinned, in a battle suit that's like V to put a like thing on her chest. It's called P3O. She's been brainwashed by Albert Wesker. Albert's back, and Chris is all like, and he's in a meetup town in Africa called Kajuju, I'm pretty sure. RE5 is a whole discussion. I'm just gonna get into the fact that they made Jill Valentine look exactly almost like Fiona Belly from Haunting Ground, which came out 4 years prior. And they also made Spencer Oswell, the guy who owned the mansion, they made him look like Lorenzo as an old man who's in the wheelchair and he's all like, Fiona, I want to smell you, or whatever he says. He's creepy. He looks exactly like him. I will do side-by-sides. They look the fucking same. Okay, so RE5 happens and Sheva lives, Josh lives, Jill lives, Chris lives, Albert dies. Yay. RE6 happens. Piers Nivens gets introduced. He also dies in the same game. Oh, I don't think you knew that one. Sorry. Okay. Anyways, in my head, he never died. They shouldn't have killed him. Anyways, Then RE6 happens, and then like everyone's in that game, and then they also sexualize the hell out of Sherry, and they also make it Jake's campaign, who's Albert's son, that he didn't even know he was Albert's son. And then they make it Jake's campaign instead of calling it Sherry's campaign, which it should have been called Sherry's campaign. I don't know. Helena's also in it. I don't even fuck about Helena. That's controversial. I don't know. Then RE7 happens, and it's in Louisiana, and you can smell that game through the screen. It's awesome. Mia's whole like, Ethan, I love you, and then she like falls to the ground seemingly dead. That performance was cool as hell because she screams and she turns into a monster in front of Ethan. That's his wife. And then Evelyn's like a little kid, old lady. She's a bitch. You kill her. Ethan dies in that game, but you don't know that, and he doesn't know that. He becomes a mold guy, and then he seemingly has a baby with Mia while he's a mold guy, giving birth to Rose Winters, who is his baby, who gets kidnapped while they're living in Romania in RE8. And then Ethan goes on a whole like murder spree of the tall hot vampire lady, the gross grungy monster boy, swamp guy, swamp Shrek. And then he kills like the little doll person. And then he kills Heisenberg, who was actually pretty cool. But he kills everyone in Romania. Everyone in Romania dies. And then he gets his daughter back, and then he dies. And also Chris Redfield's in that game, but he doesn't really do anything helpful. So